Have you ever thrown away an empty plastic bottle without thinking twice? What if I told you that the same bottle could grow you fresh, juicy tomatoes right in your own home? Sounds crazy, right? Here is the shocking truth. Thousands of people are growing big, delicious tomatoes using nothing more than the trash we toss away every day. And the best part is that it costs almost nothing. But before you grab a bottle and start cutting it up, there is one simple step that most beginners completely miss. Without it, your tomato plant will never survive. In this video, I am going to show you exactly how to turn old plastic bottles into a tomato growing machine. By the end, you will know the secret step that makes the difference between a struggling plant and a tomato harvest you will be proud of. So why on earth would anyone choose to grow tomatoes in a plastic bottle instead of a pot or garden bed? The answer is simple. A plastic bottle can become a mini greenhouse, a perfect root environment, and even a self-watering system all in one. But there is a trick to making it work, and this is where most people get it wrong. Before we get to that trick, let's imagine something. You walk into your kitchen, grab an empty water bottle, and instead of tossing it into the trash, you give it a second life. That one simple choice could give you weeks of fresh tomatoes without spending extra money. Sounds good, right? Now here's where it gets interesting. There is a certain way you have to prepare the bottle so that the tomato roots can grow strong and healthy. We will get to the exact preparation in a moment, but first, think about this. In nature, plants have deep soil, steady moisture, and space for roots to stretch. Your plastic bottle needs to copy that environment, but in a much smaller space. How do we make that happen? It is actually easier than you think, but only if you follow the steps in the right order. And here is the part most beginners never hear about. It is not just about planting. It is about creating the right microclimate inside that bottle. Alright, let's start with the first step. Grab a clean, empty plastic bottle. The best size is between 1 and 2 liters because it gives the tomato plant enough space for root growth while still being easy to handle. Cut the bottle about 1/3 from the top. You will now have 2 parts. The top part will act as a funnel, and the bottom part will be your water reservoir. This setup creates a simple self-watering system that keeps the soil moist without overwatering. Turn the top part upside down and place it inside the bottom part. Before you add soil, poke a small hole in the bottle cap. This will allow water to pass through slowly. If you skip this step, the soil may become too dry or too soggy. Now, fill the top section with a light potting mix. Do not use heavy garden soil because it can block airflow and hold too much water. For best results, mix in some compost for nutrients. Gently plant your tomato seedling in the center of the soil. Press the soil around the roots so the plant feels secure. Here's why this works so well. As the plant needs water, it will pull it up from the bottom section through the cap hole. This keeps the roots evenly moist, just like in natural soil conditions. This method also reduces the need for constant watering, making it perfect for busy people or those with small spaces. Now, here is something most people do not realize. You can grow tomatoes in a plastic bottle without even using soil at all. Yes, you heard that right. No dirt, no mess, and still get fresh, healthy tomatoes. This might sound impossible, but there is a way to use water and nutrients only, turning your bottle into a mini hydroponic system. Before you think this is complicated, let me tell you it is actually simpler than the soil method. And in some cases, it can even grow tomatoes faster. The trick is knowing the right mix of water and nutrients. Start by rinsing your plastic bottle so it is clear and clean. Keep the cap. Cut the bottle 1/3 from the top. Flip the top into the base. This is how you grow tomatoes without soil. Make a simple wick. Use cotton string, a shoelace, or a strip of t-shirt. Thread through a hole in the cap so half hangs into the bottom chamber. The other half should sit in the top chamber. Fill the bottom with water mixed with a water-soluble plant food. Start light. 1/4 of the label dose is enough for a young tomato. Stir until it is fully dissolved. Place a small cube of sponge or a bit of rock wool in the top chamber. That is where your tomato seedling will rest. If you do not have those, use perlite mixed with a little cocoa fiber. The wick will pull nutrient water up, keeping the cube moist. Set the seedling gently into the cube. Make sure the stem is upright. Roots should touch the moist surface, not the deep water. Slide the bottle near a bright window or under a simple grow light. Tomatoes love strong light. Give them at least 6 hours. One more detail matters. Wrap the bottle base with paper or foil to block light. Roots prefer the dark, and this also slows algae. Wondering how to stop the bottle from tipping or overheating in summer? Keep watching. The next step solves both in a smart way. Most people think the biggest challenge in growing tomatoes is watering or feeding them. The truth is, neither of those will matter if you miss this one final detail. It is the detail that decides whether your tomato plant produces a few tiny fruits or a basket full of ripe, juicy ones. Here is the twist. It has nothing to do with the bottle itself. In fact, you could follow every step perfectly and still fail if you ignore this. The good news is that fixing it is easy once you know how. Let's uncover that final game changer. The final key to growing tomatoes in a plastic bottle is pollination and consistent light. Without both, your plant may grow tall and healthy, but will not produce many tomatoes. Let's start with light. Tomatoes need strong, direct light to produce flowers. If you're growing indoors, place your bottle where it gets at least 6 to 8 hours of sunlight. If natural light is not enough, use a small grow light. Keep it close to the plant, about 6 to 12 inches above, to mimic the strength of the sun. Now about pollination. In nature, wind and insects move pollen from flower to flower. Indoors, you need to help this process. When flowers open, gently tap the stem or use a small, soft paintbrush to move pollen between blooms. This step encourages the plant to set fruit. Also, keep the temperature steady. Tomatoes thrive between 65 and 80 degrees Fahrenheit. Sudden drops can cause flowers to fall off before fruit forms. By combining good light, simple hand pollination, and a stable environment, you give your tomato plant everything it needs to produce a strong harvest. This final detail turns your plastic bottle setup into a reliable mini tomato farm. So now you know the complete process to turn an empty plastic bottle into a tomato growing machine. From creating a self-watering system to even going soil-free, and finally giving your plant the light and pollination it needs, you have every tool to grow fresh, juicy tomatoes right at home. The best part is you can start today. Look around, find a bottle, and try it yourself. You might be amazed at how quickly you see results. If you found this helpful, share it with a friend and start your own tomato challenge together. Happy growing!